This is Bizgnus Interviews 2.0. It's where you'll get ideas for personal and business success from those who've been there and done it. Well, thanks for clicking in. I'm Doug Caldwell, your host for these one-on-one interviews. This episode's guest is Steve Selengut, an author, but also a 44-year investment professional. His book, Retirement Money Secrets, recently won the 2025 American Legacy Book Awards in the category of personal finance and investing. Our conversation begins in 3, 2. Steve, let's start by telling our listeners and viewers a little bit about yourself, the elevator story as you go up to the third or fourth floor.
Okay. Well, as you know, when you get to advanced years, the stories get longer and longer. But I'll give you the shortest version I can. I was a private investment portfolio manager for about 45 years. I managed as up to as much as over 110 million in capital when I sold my business in 2023. At which time I wrote Retirement Money Secrets, which outlined my approach, which is different than most Wall Street advisors. It talks about income being the most important thing that we need. We can't spend our market value, without selling our assets. We just want to have it produce income for us. So I made a book about that. And then I started a coaching program business about that. And now I have, and this is probably new since the last time you and I spoke, I have a coaching community, an income investing community of over 500 people already. And just today or yesterday, I introduced a course for the general public that's up on my website. And it says FIRE income investing, the FIRE program, financial independence, etc. And so it's FIRE income investing, and it's a course that's available to everybody now. So that's what I've been doing since I quote retired.
And there is no ending of busyness in retirement, that's for sure. Let's give
No.
our listeners and viewers that website right now.
Well, the website is theincomecoach.net.
Sounds pretty simple.
Theincomecoach.net. And right on top it says course. One of the tabs says course, and that's where they can find out the information about the course.
I understand your book recently received a large award. Am I correct in that?
It was a large ego award, not a financial reward. The American Society of something or other voted it the number one book in in finance slash investing for 2025, and it's recently just went over the 8,000 copies sold mark, which is actually pretty unique in nonfiction, particularly nonfiction finance. I guess we've had some books that have sold millions of copies, but most of them sell hundreds of copies.
Including those somebody left in their garage, I'm afraid.
Yeah, there you go. So, it's kind of a big deal. Um, I think a lot of people have benefited from it by recognizing that they can make their advisors be more income focused, and if not, they can find other people that will.
Well, tell us about your philosophy again, for those who were not did not avail themselves of the video and audio podcast we did a year and a half ago.
Yeah. Well, it boils down to uh, what you really need when you get close to retirement, and the fact that you can't without Wall Street advisory businesses focus on amount under management or AUM. That's how they get paid. So they want things in the client portfolios that will grow a lot in market value because market value, like I said, they get paid a percentage of market value. Whereas we who are doing the investing, we who are retiring, we who are trying to generate enough business from our market, from our portfolio so that we can change careers or start a new business, whatever, we need income to get that done. We need income to travel the world. So what I've done is developed a way to do that. And I practiced it for nearly 50 years on my own and through my clients of generating more income than they could spend. And I always assured them that in addition to the income, I would always make enough for them in profits to more than cover the fees that they were paying me. So that's what I do. I show people how to transition their portfolios from one that looks pretty to one that focuses on generating income and rarely experiences losses. Uh, Securities will always go down in price, particularly interest rate sensitive securities, but they also typically always continue paying the contractual amounts that they say they're going to pay. So the income continues and can be grown all along. So that's what I do. That's
As you look at investing these days in 2025, how have the Trump tariff taxes impacted your clients? What are they asking you?
uh, it hasn't impacted their income at all. The distribution income from the funds that we use have maintained for the most part. In fact, more of them have raised their distributions than have lowered them over the past 11 months, 10 months, however long it's been since he's been in there. But what the tariff questions and the um, enormous volatility that the back and forth um, economic news has created profit-taking opportunities that far exceed the amount of growth that's been experienced in prices themselves. So like we'll have these 300-point moves to the upside, and the next day, 300 points to the downside, and this back and forth motion. If you if you look at your securities periodically during the day, you see opportunities to take profits and also to buy things at lower prices. Um, so it's really very beneficial to my style of investing. We can add to positions that have gone down in price, increasing the yield on them. We can sell things for profits to grow capital, and then we have more money, earning more money. If you look at, I look at performance measurement in three ways. I look at, is my working capital growing quarter to quarter, year to year? Is the base income I'm receiving, meaning interest, dividends, and so forth, is that growing every quarter? And then I look at the last thing, and most good brokerage firms statements will give you an estimate of what your next 12 months income projection is. And I want to see that income projection growing every quarter, every year. And if I can do that, then I know I'm beating inflation, I'm beating the 4% rule, and I'm growing my portfolio for my kids and my other heirs or charities, whatever I want to do with it when I'm done.
That gaggle of dogs or cats you have in the
Yeah,
garage.
we seem to be trailing there, waiting for you.
Yeah, yes, they are
Yeah.
always around. Uh, Here's two kind of a dumb question, but when is it too late to start?
Well, really, it's never too late. It may be too late to overcome the lag between your income and your expenditures. You'd have to take the securities and convert them into more income producing securities. So hopefully you still have enough left that it could produce enough to pay your expenses. Let's say you had $1 million and your investment program is producing 3% income net of the advisor's fees, if there are. So you've got, $30,000 to spend, right? So if you can, so each and 30 to spend, and you have to spend 50, so 20,000 a month is coming out of principal. If you could take that portfolio and snap your fingers and say, I'm going to be in Steve's portfolio averaging 9.5%, well, then you'd have 95,000. So you now be making more than you're spending. So you wouldn't have to sell anything. And you could actually reinvest the differential or go to India like I am, in October. That type of thing. That's the
Go
difference.
to India. What do you mean by that? Are you on
Well, that
vacation?
happens to be my next trip is we're going to India via Dubai. We're going to visit a nephew of mine that's there for a couple nights, and then we're going on to join a travel group with Tauk in India, and literally fly around from the trial that they call it.
Now, you've written a successful book. Do you have another one planned in your mind?
No.
No.
Oh, I have one. I have an idea for a book that somebody else could write. It would be a book of the experiences of the people that have converted and used the process in Retirement Money Secrets. Like if somebody got in there and interviewed 100 of the people in my community, they would get some really interesting stories. And
Steve, what would you like to add that we haven't talked about? And it could be anything. It's been fairly wide-ranging so far, but you probably have other things you want to get out.
I always think that if people would have gotten an education, the type of financial education I got a little bit through my father because of his involvement in a real estate business that generated a lot of money. But I, the experiences I've had with changing lives, if they could read about that type of thing and say, I can do that. I've got the time, I've got the patience. This is not rocket science. There are there are a dozen securities out there that pay more than the 4% that they expect me to pay in retire or use in retirement, including some stocks that pay more than that amount of money. But they don't want to put us there for whatever the reason, whatever their bosses tell them. We can do that. I can do that on my own, and I've got evidence. I've got you know 520 members of my community that are doing it by themselves. I've got another 6,000 who have read my book, and it's likely that maybe 3,000 of them are doing it on their own. So it can be done, people. You just need a little education, and it doesn't mean you have to go to night school or anything like that. I do. If I want to pitch something, Doug, I'll say it's at my website, which we mentioned before. I have a course that's just opened up. It's a special price for the first 25 people who subscribe for the course. It's worth thousands, and it costs less than 1,000 for the program. And I'm convinced that when you finish the program, you'll also get 2 sessions with me. You'll be ready to do this on your own and change your life.
We'd like your thoughts on this interview. Please take a moment to send us a note to the following email address: editor@bizgnus.com. That's spelled BIZGNUS.com. There are more than 100 other interviews in the Bizgnus library on YouTube. When you have time, browse through them. Thanks for watching or listening.